We are back with Keisha Edwards. Keisha is a 31-year-old university graduate in sociology, presently a UV student,
Yeah.
founder of Shasha. Am I pronouncing this correctly? Shasha Design.
Yes, chakra.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Shasha Designs, a women's ready-to-wear fashion brand in Guyana that specializes in making unconventional wedding dresses. Worked as the
Yes.
costume designer for international feature film A Bitter Lime, sorry, Knowledge Seeker, Bills or Bills. Let me rephrase that. A Bitter Lime, and you're a knowledge seeker. Builds your knowledge in your field. Notable works, Award of Excellence recipient for Fashion Innovation at the Caribbean Style and Culture Fashion Awards and Showcase. That's Maryland, USA. Works um, featured in magazines Chabot and She Caribbean magazine.
Yes.
Kisha,
Having me.
I ask everybody this question so you don't
Yes.
escape. When those close to you describe you, what do you usually agree with?
They always say I'm a hard worker, and I definitely agree with that.
A hard worker.
I don't know when to stop.
Fashion,
Yeah.
designs. When did
Yeah.
this all start?
Um, my earliest memory of, just designing would have been when I was 5. I was always sketching and drawing some dress, pants, whatever it was, and I would ask my mother to sew it for me. And she always did, and I would just sit there and watch her make those pieces for me.
So, Sasha Designs, the name, where did it come from actually?
Well, when I started designing, it was me and my best friend Alicia, and we were always making outfits for ourselves, for school parties, fairs, whatever it was. And my sister, she would always say, Keisha, you and Alicia need to do something with this. And one day she just called me and she was like, I have it, Shasha, because the endings of our names, Keisha and Alicia.
Oh, I see. I don't know why I didn't
Yeah.
think of that. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I'm a real dunce. Um, Very creative. So,
Yes, yeah.
when you first started Sasha Designs, what were some of your earlier challenges?
Well, I don't necessarily like the word challenge, Selwyn. I prefer growth moments,
Growth
right?
moments. Okay.
Yeah, growth moments.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that everything that happens in life is an opportunity for you to learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I was self-taught. So I was limited to a lot of things that I was able to do, like maybe putting zips into dresses or making a particular style. I only knew a few techniques. So I was limited to those methods. So I was like, okay, you know what? I need to read more. I need to go on YouTube. I need to do something to develop this natural talent that I have. So that was one of the challenges, or like I said, growth moments that I would have experienced.
Mm. And you're studying at UWE. You're a fashion designer in Guyana, a young
Yes.
fashion designer. What is it like? I mean, give us an idea what it is like being a young fashion designer in Guyana now starting out. Um, Perhaps you can tell us some of the growth moments you've had and the growth spurts you've had. But what was that like? Tell us about that.
Well, in Guyana, when I first started designing, it was very difficult because a lot of people don't really see fashion as, an authentic career. A lot of people think you're not educated and that you're wasting your time. That's the perception of any art-based career within the region.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it took a lot of convincing to get people on board because at that time, I just graduated from school and I started my diploma in social work at the University of Guyana. So, you know, everybody was like, well, except for my sister who encouraged me, but most persons were like, oh, you can't make a career out of fashion. You're wasting your time. And for me, I just prayed about it and I trusted myself. It was something that I wanted to do. I was passionate about it. And then also, I started looking to some of the designers out there in Guyana. I used to model for Olympia Small and Derek Moore. And I was like, okay, they're designers and they're making it, they're doing well. So I was like, you know what? I cannot listen to what people are saying. I need to focus on my dreams. I need to believe in myself and, keep pushing through. And I think a lot of new or upcoming designers face that, having to, defend why they want to be a part of this industry.
What was your
So,
what
pardon?
what was your mother's reaction when she realized that this is the path you want to take?
Well, my mother was ecstatic. My mother is, oh my, I may tear up a little bit, but my mother, she was just so happy
Mm.
because my dad is an engineer and I have siblings who follow along that line. And I really was the only one that took to the sewing. So she was very happy to have someone who, looked to her field, but also who took it to the next level. Because we must learn, we must grow, we must always advance. So she was just so proud of me. And yeah, she's my biggest fan.
And do you remember your first piece?
My first piece,
Mhm.
wow. Yes. I remember, well, there are many first pieces.
Mm.
First piece for pro, first piece for my collection, or just, just first piece for me.
For a piece for your collection.
Okay, the first piece that I created for my collection was actually launched at the first Ghana Fashion Week that I did in 2008. And it had like a rock theme meet uh, meet traditional type of wear. It was black and cream. It had a lot of tulle. It had some spikes in it. It was very funky and trendy. It was a big hit on the runway as well.
I see a piece behind you, a dress or so on a mannequin. Can you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about it? What inspired
Well,
it, and you know?
okay. Well, thank you for asking. This actually is one of the sample pieces from my unconventional wedding collection,
Mhm.
and it was inspired by the zeitgeist, like I was telling you previously, because we spoke about this. That's the spirit of the times. That's me looking at the demographic, what they want, what they need. So we have a lot of younger brides coming. They're they want to be trendy. They want to look different, and not only that, they want a change of dress. So when I created my unconventional collection, I thought about, wedding gowns, change of dresses, lingerie, all these different things that you would need for a wedding or for that moment. And then I started thinking of color series, and I thought of orange because orange represents new beginning. When you think of orange, you think of the sunset, the sunrise,
Mhm.
and it's a new beginning in a woman's life. So, you know, I went with this print. I really loved it, and it was a really good hit. I did a sample in another collection that I showcased in DC, and this design was my biggest selling design. So I said, you know what, I am going to use it in the unconventional wedding collection because, it's elegant yet a bit casual. So, the bride could move around, have some fun, and still look beautiful on her day.
Why wedding gongs though?
Well, I think as designers, we must also understand that we are business people as well.
Mhm.
And you must look into the market to see where there's a need. And I noticed there was a need for wedding gowns. I mean, a lot of young Guyanese women, they're very modern. They use the internet, they go online, they look to see what's out there, and they order things. And sometimes these dresses come, they bring them to me, and I have to tear it apart, get inside, and reconstruct it to fit them. And I thought to myself, wait, why am I fixing these dresses when I could be making them?
Mm-hmm.
So I studied them. When they came, I studied them and I said, you know what? I'm going to start making wedding gowns because, women who are getting married, they need this. They want to feel beautiful. They want to be happy on their wedding day. And I just love pleasing my clients. So I said, you know what? I need to start doing this.
What was a defining moment for you designing wedding gowns or just designing, period?
Um, I didn't hear that question clearly. Could you
Sorry,
repeat?
what was a defining moment for you in designing?
The defining moment for me in designing,
Mhm. Just one.
um, just one.
Mm.
Okay. I guess for me, it was, being able to do something that I love, do something that I was passionate about that didn't feel like work. It is my job, but it's not like a job if you get what I
I
mean.
got you. Yes. Hmm. Hmm.
Right? So for me, it was the ability to do something that I'm, extremely passionate about that comes from within, and I could keep just doing it for the love of it, you know, and it makes me happy.
How
So
does
that
this?
I think,
Uh-huh. Go
pardon
ahead.
me?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was finished.
Okay. How does it work? Someone approaches you, a bride to be approaches you
Hmm.
to design a gown for them. Um, what happens next?
Okay, so when she comes into my studio, I ask her a series of questions. I asked her if she has a design in mind. If she doesn't, well, I will sketch a series of dresses. But before I do that, I asked her to tell me a little bit about herself, what she's into, um, what color she had in mind. And then I would also show her my portfolio with different designs that I would have done so that I would be able to better explain to her because not everybody is going to understand the language, the fashion language. So then I would point to different silhouettes and styles. I would say, okay, do you want it big at the bottom? Do you want it tight? Do you want it short? Do you want it long? So we have that conversation. Do you want it with beads, with stones? And I show them pictures and samples of all of these things. And then we talk whether I'm going to import, whether, these these type of things. I give them the information that they need, and I let them know that it's going to take me about 2 weeks to create the sketches. When I do this, and they come back in and they select a dress, they know the cost. Sometimes what I do is I ask the bride what is their budget because I want to be able to create gowns for everyone.
Hmm.
So then we create dresses to suit a client's budget as well. So that's the type of conversation we have. And once we've agreed on anything, on everything, I measure them and I let them know that they're going to have 3 fittings. And I let them know the date of the first fitting. And when they come for that fitting, the lace is not necessarily applied as yet. It's just the bare dress so that I could get the exact fit so that when I make adjustments, then I can apply the lace. Because to have to apply lace, to have to adjust the dress after applying the lace is a lot of work and you ruin the fabric and you ruin the stones. And that's one of the things I learned through my growth moment. So
How
so I have the 3 fittings, and we go from there. And then, most times, well, all the time, they're just excited.
I know this.
Yeah.
I know this arena has many sides. You have the design and dealing with clients and the business side.
Yeah.
Um, which is most appealing to you?
Of the designing part, the designing, I can sew all day. My family even tease me sometimes, and they would say I'm my own sweatshop. But I love creating pieces, sketching them, coming up with them in my head and then putting them down on paper and then actually creating them and just seeing it. And then also seeing the garments on the client, that moment when they're so happy,
Wow.
especially a bride or when you're dealing with a young lady for prom. Any client that's just satisfied, it's the feeling is indescribable.
I want to ask you a little bit about your fabrics. I see the African prints and African the kente influence and
Yeah.
so on, but I want to go to the chat room first. Tristan said she's so talented and well spoken. Giselle said Keisha is very knowledgeable about fashion. Nice. And Richard, you mentioned you have a social work background. Do you think that
Yeah.
there is an opportunity for you to incorporate fashion with your background, that of social work, to establish a new concept? And yeah, go ahead. And
Okay. Well, not only do I have a diploma in social work, I have a degree in sociology as well. And yes, I do. The thing is, I would always observe people, what they like, what they don't like. So sometimes, um, my background in the social environment, the social work and sociology helps me to deal with clients. Sometimes clients come to me, they're having a bad day, and then they leave my studio feeling lighter and happier. One of the things that I learned in social work is listening to people, and listening to tones. So sometimes when clients come in, I listen because sometimes they just want somebody to listen to them.
mm,
And I feel like a lot of the things that I learned in social work and sociology has helped me to be better at my job, and especially dealing with clients because customer service is extremely important. So I think that aspect comes from social work and understanding how to deal with clients, and also with regards to sociology, having to collect data and do research. That is important as a designer because you have to sometimes research, most times, I won't say sometimes, you have to research colors, you have to research your themes, new designs, all of these things. So they play a major role in what I do and in the industry.
so Owen asked, what advice um, would you give to a young and upcoming fashion designer in the fashion industry? And Owen is
Um,
tuning in from St. Vincent. Thank you, Owen.
Pardon me?
I said Owen is tuning in from St. Vincent. Would you like me to
Okay.
repeat his question?
He asked what advice I would have for young designers coming up in the industry.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, well, first, I would say believe in yourself. Um, don't listen to the naysayers. Something that I didn't have, but I would advise you to get is a mentor. And you're in St. Vincent, Peter Odini came on Baptiste. There are some of the really creative designers. There are a lot of creative designers in St. Vincent, but I know them personally. I've worked with them. So I would say, reach out to a designer who's already established so they can offer advice. Now, sometimes you may reach out and this doesn't happen, but like I said, trust yourself, seek, be a sponge, and seek as much knowledge as you can get in your field. Go on YouTube, see what classes are available. Go to them. Don't ever think that, oh well, my country don't have anything to help me. I need to go to the States and all of these. That is important. Traveling abroad, because I've done it too. But there are things in your country that could help you until you move to the other level. Because I exploited all resources within Guyana before I, decided that okay, I need to step up. So I would say believe in yourself, be a sponge, learn as much as possible, and reach out for a mentor in the field. Because they would offer a lot of industry advice for you.
Mhm. You mentioned two designers that from St. Vincent that you have
Yeah,
collaborated with and so on. How
yeah.
important it is for young designers to have a community of designers that they can call upon for mentorship or whatever. How important is that?
Networking in any field is important.
Mhm.
And I think in order to, achieve greater things, you can get that done in a multitude than just you being that one person trying to do so much. So I think it's extremely important because you guys could collaborate, come up with ideas and different ways to propel the entire industry collectively and just trying to do it with, one person.
Kristen said, Keisha, how old are you? You look so young, so talented.
Thank you, Kristen. You said Kristen, right?
Kristen, yes. I wonder if it's my
Thank you.
friend Kristen from BVI.
Oh, Kristen Fraser.
I'm
I
no, I'm
know
saying I
her.
wonder if
She's
it's that Kristen. I
amazing.
haven't heard from her in a while. So, Kristen is another very talented designer and from the
Yes, she
BVI.
is.
Yeah,
Yes, she is. I met her when I did the first Ghana Fashion Week, and
she's
she was
amazing.
so awesome. Yeah.
She said, "Don't forget her questions." I think this is Kristen. She said, "Don't forget my question." LOL. She
Okay.
wants to
I'm
know
31.
how. So that is Kristen. That has to be Kristen.
Yes, yes,
Hi, Kristen.
definitely.
When you consider the landscape of young fashion designers, let's
Yeah.
take Guyana.
Hmm.
Do you think is it that most people do not get about that particular landscape? What are most people missing? Just now I had, early on, I had another very talented young designer, Randy Madre, and
Hmm.
he was talking about the disrespect and, how a lot of people, don't look at fashion designers, at least in Guyana, a certain way, with respect. What do you think we are missing or people are missing?
I think we have to first understand the environment that we're in, and
Mm,
context is important. And Guyana, just like the Caribbean region, fashion is something that people are now getting into. So you're not going to see people are going to just, adapt to fashion designers and understand the work that we put in right away. I would love that,
mhm.
but that's not happening. That's not happening. So for me, I see it as an opportunity every time I come into new settings to educate people on what it is that we do because people think it's a superficial industry, but they don't understand the work that goes into just creating one garment, and persons would prefer to pay a lot of money from a designer abroad or a major fashion house and actually have a designer from their own country create their outfit. That's the reality. So for me, I try my best to always educate people so they understand the craftsmanship, the hard work that goes into creating a garment. I also try to engage people in conversation because you are the seller of your brand, and I try to engage people so they know from interacting with me, and even when they see a piece, that the Shasha Designs brand is a brand you can rely on.
You just preempted my next question. What would you like people to come away with when they hear the word Shasha Designs?
Well, I want them to, Shasha Designs is about elegance, it's about craftsmanship. A lot of my wedding gowns are hand sewn, the lace and the beads. I put a lot of work into them. So I would want people to think that and to know that Shasha Designs is a brand that you could trust and rely on. The quality is excellent. It's different. It's elegant, and it incorporates who we are as the Caribbean people as well.
If you were not, if you didn't have access to, oh, let me try this. If you were not born where you were born
Uh-huh.
and raised where you were, do you think your
Yeah.
designs would be a little different?
Um, Yes, I think so. We're influenced by our environment. So I think if I was not in this region and somewhere else, I think my designs would have been differently. How would have been different. However, I have a love for the Caribbean aesthetic. So I feel that no matter where I would have been at some point, I would have looked to the Caribbean as a form of inspiration for a collection at some point.
What is it about the Caribbean that most appeals to you?
The colors, it's so beautiful, it's colorful. Yeah, it's it's like an explosion and vibrance of colors. And when you interact with people, if we saw people in colors, and I mean, I did a collection on that as well. It was called synesthesia, but that's the ability to see, hear, and taste through colors. But if everybody
Stop.
was able to,
Stop for a
yeah,
second. I don't usually do this, but I'm going to interrupt you and interject. Repeat that last sentence.
okay, synesthesia is the ability to hear, taste, and smell colors. Yeah.
Keisha, I would love to go
Yeah.
on, but I have a surprise for our audience. You're coming back on my other show on Tuesday.
Okay, great.
So we are going to have lots of questions and we're gonna go deeper
Yeah.
and wider into the life and journey of Keisha Edwards. So I'm gonna save this other question I was going to ask you about the African fabric and so on. Tune
Yeah.
in on Tuesday to listen to Keisha.
No
So
problem.
I want to
Thank you
thank
for
you.
having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, you're welcome. You're doing great work. Thank you for being such a wonderful guest. I'll see you on Tuesday.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.